Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's Monday Memo. There's a lot of talk out there that companies need to add value to their clients, and managers similarly are expected that their staff continually create value for their organizations, or they'll simply cease to be relevant. But I sometimes find that those people saying these things around adding value and creating value don't really sometimes know the difference. So whether you're building a business or you're actually employed in one, when you then have someone who tells you that you need to create value and you need to add value, it can actually sound and feel quite insulting, right? Because, like, isn't that the whole point of you being employed or in business in the first place? Isn't it like to add value or create value? And I also bet that those people saying the same things are also contributing to the huge levels of disengagement that we're hearing and seeing about in our organizations. I mean, it's well reported that Gallup's 2017 survey said that 85% of employees are actively disengaged. So, is it any wonder then that half of all startups will fail within the first 5 years? Or even when you look at larger businesses, that the incumbents on the Fortune 500 list of the world's largest companies, over half of them will no longer be on that list in a decade's time. So I don't believe this is isolated to small or medium or large businesses. I think it's pervasive. It affects everyone, and it also affects the finance professionals and the finance team serving those organizations. And it's a shame that it's affecting finance, because I fundamentally believe we have a number of fantastic assets that not only add value to organizations but can be leveraged, go and unlock and create and capture more value for our organizations. And I think one of the key issues here is that I I don't believe that we really know the difference between the two, adding value and creating value. I mean, let's look at it, right? Um, Finance professionals and accountants have been around for thousands of years, almost as long as businesses themselves. So we've been adding value, recording the transactions, creating reports, filing tax returns, auditing financials, you name it. We've been doing a great job at adding value. I mean, isn't that reason why finance teams exist in the first place, right? To add some sort of value. But this type of value, I call it's more around the compliance type value. It's really insight value, and that's my mind adding value. It's around producing insights. Um, and given that this is a minimum requirement for finance professionals to even be employed in organizations, that's why I believe there's been so many accounting organizations sprout up in the last few hundred years. So you've got your CPAs, ACAs, ACCAs, CGMAs, AATs, CFAs, AITIs, CTAs, CFAs. The list can go on and on and on. And if you think about it, we probably have an alphabet soup full of C's, A's, and T's. So creating value then, on the other hand, involves us taking these insights that we've added value from and then using them to influence decision makers to start creating value, helping them solve meaningful problems in our organizations, so we can make a tangible impact to the numbers and, in fact, capture some of that value. Because I look at the numbers as the relative results of past decisions. So we help improve or create value in those decisions, then we end up improving and creating and capturing value in the numbers, right? And that's why I think there's still a role for compliance in adding value, because finance professionals who are creating value generally are doing so on the shoulders of those that have been adding value for so many centuries, and also so many in their organizations currently. So we should never really overlook the compliance elements of accounting, whether that be in practice or within organizations themselves. And it's only with having those solid foundations that we've been developing for the past 4,000 years that we earn the right to go and then create value for organizations in the more controllership and advisory areas. And I still want to stress this. We need to add value first before we go create value. So when I hear well-meaning CFOs demanding from their finance teams Get out from behind your desks and engage with the business. Get a better business understanding. Be more commercial. Be like a consultant. Enable the business to plan for performance. Be proactive. Get ahead of the decisions. To those people providing such directions, I know like you're being well-meaning, but let's stall the ball for a second here, right? If we keep continuing down this track of telling people to create value and do more without recognizing what we're doing well already, we're just going to increase the level of disengagement. If we're not giving them the tools and help them improve their awareness of what's working well and could be better, that disengagement, as Gallup's suggesting, could cost us up to 34% of someone's salary because of their lost productivity, missed work days, tardiness, disrupting others, the negativity they're bringing into the office, and distraction and management time. I mean, I think there's a lot of unseen costs with trying to be well-meaning that we're just sort of missing out on. And I took a few steps myself to try and solve this, which is why I developed an Excel tool to, in effect, take the pulse on the value creation potential of the organizations I work with. And then, because there's, I suppose, to speed things up in that regard, I then turned it into a bit of a web app. One, because it was just easier for the teams I work with to go and access, but two, might as well scale it, right? And give everyone in finance professionals worldwide, the opportunity to understand where they create value at the moment, or where they're adding value, sorry, should I say, and how they can go and then leverage that to go and improve their value creation potential and start capturing some of that potential, making an impact for their organizations and solving those meaningful problems that will lead to them having fun, rewarding and successful careers in finance. So the aim of this web app is to give you a very quick assessment of your VCP, value creation potential. In effect, it's like taking the pulse of what you're doing well and where you could perhaps do better, and do so very quickly within, say, 5 minutes. So if you go to the website www.avfww.com/begin, it'll open up a pane where you're asked to put in a few details, and those details will then allow us to give you a result benchmarked relative to your sort of performance compared to a similar sized business, your peers in your country, your organizational level, and industry as well. Now, bear with this app, it's slowly gathering data over time, and as it's doing that, it may not have enough results to give you an immediate feedback in terms of your performance against your peers. But if we don't start inputting into it, then we'll never get there. So if we all start contributing towards this, then we actually have a chance of actually figuring out how well we're doing relative to our peers from a VCP, a value creation potential perspective. So we fill those details in. I've just done so previously. You click the submit button. Don't forget to tick mark the tick box so that no one can access your results other than yourself, because when you click to submit and you answer the 36 questions, I'm just doing it randomly for now. You go through them and then you click to submit at the bottom. What happens is you get an assessment view, you get a result, and by no means this is not necessarily mine, but it gives you a unique link. If you were to click on this potential assessment button here, you get a unique view for you, and you get a token that you can go back and access any point. You can even print it out, and then when you retest yourself again in the future, you can see how much you've improved against it. Okay. So going back to this page, the reason why I like this view is because it allows you to click in and get some practical tips on actually how to start improving your score in that area. Now, one of my favorite ones is Attuned, and it talks about things you can do to actually improve your score in this area. So ensure that you're holding one-to-ones with key stakeholders regularly, that you've done a stakeholder analysis of their haves and wants, and you start building trust over time. The different colors would be, I suppose, an indication of where you're doing well and better. So green is generally good, amber is probably okay, could do better. Red and pink probably needs the most focus. And I said if you click into each band, each segment, it'll tell you what each stands for. All right. Also, you get a summary of traits at the bottom here, and a further explanation is the VCP is in this PDF. If you were to click on it, it would actually give you some indications as to how to deconstruct the score in the future. So look, I just encourage you, give it a go, get your score, reflect on it, and take on board some of the tips. When you do get that PDF assessment, if I was to click into it there and go through it, it does actually list out the areas where you could do better underneath. So you don't have to click into the app to keep checking. You could just take that list with you and start improving your value creation potential and start capturing some of that value that you're unlocking. And I guess that's the very similar reason why we've done the app in this way, is because it is practical. That's the whole reason why we do the Strength in the Numbers show as well, is to bring on guest mentors who've had many years of practical experiences that they've deconstructed so that they can help you build your strength in the numbers faster, so that you can then go on to have a more rewarding, successful and fulfilling career in accounting and finance, solving those problems that are most meaningful in your organizations. And that allows us then to go from the value we've been adding as finance professionals for many thousands of years to going on towards creating value and capturing some of that value for organizations and also ourselves. So the organization wins and we win from a career perspective as well. So look, hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please share it with your friends and colleagues. Get them to take the test and see what their scores are, and see how you get on there. And let me know, feedback to me in terms of what's working well with the app, what could do better, and we'll see if we can get a better version out there. It is just a beta version at the moment. I still use my Excel tools quite heavily, but again, would appreciate your input. Yeah, just left me to say thanks for tuning in today. Really appreciate you investing in time in our show in this episode. And until next time, take care of yourselves and let's keep on building our strength in the numbers.